The new 8-cylinder Aston Martin DB11 puts us in something of a philosophical bind, as it poses the question, how much is the right amount of too much? Does a sports car need a completely ridiculous amount of power, or will merely excessive do? With due deference to Mark Donahue's oft-quoted assertion that superfluity would arrive only with the ability to spin all wheels in every gear, this smaller engine version of Aston's coupe makes an excellent case that downsizing can have an upside. The DB11 V8 is the first implementation of Aston Martin's agreement with Daimler to use the German's twin-turbocharged 4.0-liter V8. The same engine that powers high-performance models in the Mercedes-AMG and Mercedes-Benz families. While the engine also will go into the upcoming replacement for the British brand's smaller Vanquish, it makes its Aston debut in the DB11. With 503 horsepower, its output is the same as in Mercedes-AMG C63S, against 600 ponies for the DB11's V12. Both DB11 engines have near identical torque outputs. However, with the 4.0 liters 498 pounds-to-foot representing a reduction of just 18 pounds-to-foot compared with the V12. The factory-stated 0 to 62 mph time for the V8 of 4.0 seconds is just 0.1 second behind that of the V12. The DB11 hit 60 mph in 3.6 seconds in our recent test of the V12 model. Claimed top speed suffers more, falling by 13 mph to 187 mph, although we didn't have a chance to confirm this deficit during our drive in Spain. A key benefit of the new engine is that it's both more compact and lighter than the 12. The V8 car weighs 254 pounds less than its brawnier sibling, says Aston, with most of the weight coming off the front axle. The good news is that, until you start the V8, nobody need know that you have stinted on the cylinder count. Only the sharpest eyes will be able to spot the differences that distinguish the V8, dark headlamp bezels, new wheel finishes, and 2 air vents on the long hood instead of the V12 S4. In every other regard it looks identical, with the same muscular design, stunning profile, and immaculately tailored cabin, the last benefiting from a Mercedes-based infotainment system. As with the V12 DB11, we must mourn the passing of Aston's traditional handbrake, a fly-off lever positioned between the driver's seat and door. Now there's just a boringly conventional, switch-controlled electric parking brake. And although gadget-loving MI6 operatives might appreciate the motorized coupe that sits between the front seats, which seems like a pretty good size for a Walther PPK, waiting for it to power open or close is considerably less convenient than a manual slider would be. The sound and the fury. Any doubts about which power plant your Aston has shipped with are dispelled the moment the V8 fires to life. It sounds magnificent, louder and roarier than the V12 at startup, awakening with a brat rather than the bigger engine's creamier tone. From then onward it just gets angrier, snarling under gentle use and, when pushed further, emitting a hard-edged tone that sounds as good from the driver's seat as it does from outside the cabin. Performance gives away little to the V12, indeed, the V8 feels keener at real-world speeds. The AMG engine delivers its peak torque fractionally higher up the rev range than the V12 does, but it makes a more dramatic entrance, arriving with a forceful shove where the bigger engine takes longer to build boost. The V8 DB11 seems quicker to react, and throttle response is outstanding. In AMG models, the V8 works with either a 7 or 9-speed version of Mercedes' G-tronic gearbox, which use a multiplate clutch in lieu of a torque converter. But Aston has paired it with the same ZF 8-speed automatic as the V12, with a more conventional design including a torque converter. Fears that this transmission would fail to play nice with the highly strung engine soon proved to be misplaced. The single most impressive aspect of the powertrain is how integrated the two feel. We noticed some slight throttle surging at very low speeds. The DB11 needs to be maneuvered carefully when parking, but from walking pace and beyond, the transmission delivers impressive smoothness when left in drive, and responses to manual inputs are quick enough to rival a dual-clutch gearbox. The engine's punchy torque delivery also kept the stability control busy on the twisting and wet roads in the Spanish Pyrenees, On the day of our drive, the rain in Spain fell mainly on the mountains. But the conditions also showed the fundamental balance of the chassis to be near perfect, with front and rear grip levels that allow the big coupe to feel agile without becoming scary. The stability control can be fully defeated, albeit via a convoluted process through a sub-menu selected with the steering wheel control switches, but it feels plenty exciting even with the Guardians on duty, particularly in its most aggressive Sport Plus mode. The reduction in mass over the front axle can be felt. It's not as if the V12 DB11 feels like a late 1970s Cadillac Fleetwood, but the V8 car is markedly fleeter of foot. While steering inputs yield strong and positive responses and there are just 2.4 turns locked to lock, the steering wheel itself feels a little too big for hustling. The V8 DB11 might be primarily designed to go touring grandly, but it can pass muster as a sports car. There is some heave on rougher roads with the variable dampers in their soft GT setting, but switching them to sport delivers discipline without any significant increase in harshness. There are complaints, but they are few. Although refinement is generally impressive, we experienced the same wind noise from the top of its doors at cruising speed that we've previously noticed in the V12 DB11, something that should have been fixed in a car heading into its second year of production. While the cabin is a huge improvement over older Astons, some of the switchgear still feels a little plasticky, the prime example being the toggle switches on the steering wheel that select the powertrain and chassis modes. Small savings. Given the price of a DB11, the $17,500 savings that comes from selecting the smaller engine isn't a particularly tall heap of beans. 10 seconds with the options list could more than wipe it out. But there are reasons other than cost to choose it, and not just the marginal fuel savings. The V8 model might have less power and a lower top speed, but it offers at least as much character as the V12 while sharpening the rest of the driving experience. Overall, we'd say the choice between the two is almost perfectly balanced.
2018 BMW 440i RWD Coupe Automatic. Although the BMW 4 Series Coupe was first shown more than 4 years ago, the trickling out of multiple variants of the model over time means the car still feels fresh. But time marches on, and 2018 brings an update for the luxury sports coupe. BMW tweaked the 4 Series' engine lineup and naming convention in 2017, and those continue for 2018. The 4 Series is available as the turbocharged 4-cylinder 430i or Turbo 6 440i in 2-door coupe, convertible, and 4-door Grand Coupe forms. With the 2-door coupes there is a choice of either a manual transmission, not dead yet, or an automatic, while all body styles offer a choice of rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. The subject of this test was a 440i 2-door coupe with the 8-speed automatic and rear drive, in a pretty Aston blue metallic. It came with the $2,000 premium package, heated front seats, navigation, larger instrument cluster display, and the $2,550 million Sport Bundle, 18-inch M-Star spoke wheels, sport seats, aluminum dark carbon interior trim, M-Sport suspension, M-steering wheel, aero kit, dark exterior trim, and anthracite headliner. With $550 for the paint and $1,450 for black leather with blue contrast stitching, our test car totaled $56,245. Lights and colors. The 4 Series was already good, and the 2018 refresh provides the lightest of improvements. As when you click the automatic fix wand in iOS's Photos app, you can notice the differences only when you put the result next to the before image. Both the head and taillights have been upgraded to full LEDs, with the headlights gaining a dual, open hexagonal design that recalls the original 4 Series concept. The front fascia now features standard fog lights and wider air intakes, and the rear bumper also has been tweaked. There are new 18 and 19-inch wheel designs and 2 new exterior paint colors, Snapper Rocks Blue and Sunset Orange. Overall, the 4 Series' styling is less extroverted than that of competitors such as the Infiniti Q60, the Lexus RC, and the Mercedes-Benz C-Class Coupe. The interior sees small updates as well. New gloss black trim adorns the center console, the dash has contrasting double stitching, and, with navigation, the infotainment system has a new interface with configurable tiles. The facelift also brought a grippier steering wheel, 3 new leather color options, and the aforementioned carbon look trim. Although the cabin is nicely designed, it's a fairly staid aesthetic, and the materials in which it's rendered leave us cold. BMW's usual texturized rubber surfaces are used throughout, but they've been around so long that they make the cabin feel somewhat dated. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class has set the bar for interiors in this class, and the 440i is nowhere near as luxurious or stylish. Storage space remains scarce. Hold the line. When the 4 Series debuted, we hailed the turbocharged 3.0-liter inline 6 in the 435i. The 3.0-liter Turbo 6 is one of the best engines available in any sub-$100,000 car, period, we said. While that was the previous N55 Generation 6, the new B58 in the 440i is just as good, if not better. The turbocharged 6 makes 320 horsepower at 5,500 revolutions per minute and 330 pounds-to-foot of torque from 1,380 to 5,000 revolutions per minute, up from 300 in both measures previously. With the 8-speed automatic transmission, the rear-wheel drive 440i edged out the 435i X-Drive we tested in 2015, scoring a 4.4-second time to 60 miles per hour by comparison. The twin-turbocharged V6 Infiniti Q60 Red Sport 400 did 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. The 321-horsepower Cadillac ATS V6 Coupe needed 5.6. And the 306-horsepower Lexus RC 350F Sport ran it in 5.7. From 70 miles per hour, the BMW stopped in a respectable 166 feet. With the temptation of that acceleration available with the simple flex of an ankle, one might expect fuel economy to take a hit, yet the 440i nailed its 25 mpg EPA combined figure during our testing. EPA city highway estimates are 21/32 of a mile per gallon. Predictable suspense. Finding a sweet spot between balanced stiffness and comfortable ride quality is a black art. With the refresh, BMW worked on creating a stiffer suspension and a better steering setup, with impressive results. The electrically assisted steering is on the light side, but turn-in is quick and there is some feedback, which is more than we can say about many BMWs of late. The 2018 update included tweaked damping, and the 440i provides a stable ride, with a suspension that capably absorbs bumps while still having a connected feel to the road. Despite a taut ride with little body roll, the numbers say the 4 Series trails behind the competition at the skid pad. It registered 0.86 grams, whereas the Q60, ATS, and C-Class have hit 0.90 grams or more. It is worth noting, however, that the 440i was on all-season Pirelli tires and likely would post a better number if it were equipped with the optional $1,700 track handling package, which includes Michelin Pilot Super Sport Performance rubber. Entering this test, the BMW 4 Series was among our favorite luxury coupes, and the incremental changes only improved an already strong package. The suspension is comfortable but still athletic, the engine is marriage material, and the relatively simple styling looks better after each day spent with it. The interior is slightly out of step, and the car might need stickier rubber to make the most of the chassis, but there are options available to address those issues, for a price, of course. Although BMW has fiddled a bit with the recipe, this remains one tasty two-door.